Between February and March 2023, an exceptionally long-lived, powerful and deadly storm fell on the nation of Malawi on what was named Tropical Cyclone Freddy.
A state of emergency has been declared in Malawi after a tropical storm, Freddy, struck the country.
100 people are confirmed dead in Malawi after Cyclone Freddy slammed
has brought widespread flooding and landslides to southern Malawi.
Mozambique and Malawi are counting the cost of tropical storm Freddy, which ripped
Southern
through
Africa
Southern Africa
for the second time in a month.
What apparently looked like normal rain became worrisome as it poured non-stop, day and night, with highest winds of about 220 kilometers per hour. By the fourth day into the storm, Tropical Cyclone Freddy had started to claim lives, making it the third deadliest tropical cyclone in the southern hemisphere. There was a loud cry from Mother Nature, a call that started in the nation on Saturday of 11th March, and 3 days later, the country was declared a state of disaster. Lives were lost. Property, livelihoods, everything turned into complete devastation, and for one moment, those that had a home had nothing, and settlements became bare ground. Three things became paramount prerequisites: temporary shelter, food, clothes and blankets for the affected. The Malawi Red Cross Society was the first to answer the call.
Malawi Red Cross Society has been working hand in hand with the Malawi government, relevant ministries or departments in preparing and responding to TC Freddy. The anticipatory actions, the early warning, early actions activities that Malawi Red Cross provided were actually based on the early warning messages that we got from the Department of Meteorological Services, which had at least forecasted that about 10 districts in the southern region would be affected by the tropical cyclone Freddy. So as a national society, what we did with those messages was that we supported in terms of interpolating them into local languages, and then we mobilized our national response teams, which comprise of volunteers as well as members of staff in the districts that were predicted to be affected, so that they disseminate the very same messages. So in a way, we were providing the very same early warning messages, but then in the local languages. And also, apart from just disseminating the early warning messages using various ways like door-to-doors, we did van publicity. We also supported in terms of identifying evacuation sites to say, when this TC Freddy comes, should we have floods, where will people go and at least be residing at as temporary places.
As days and weeks went by, it became clearer that the needs on the ground were more than any protection told. The death toll exceeded 1,000. These needed the basic amenities to make them survive yet again in their new communal homes, only for a while waiting to start all over again. Most of the camps got decommissioned weeks later, as most of the temporary shelters were classroom blocks from schools which remained closed during the entire evacuation period. Several weeks later, there was no choice but to start building back.
The needs in terms of shelter is one of the areas that has been highly affected. Therefore, as we continue responding, it's really important to also consider resettlement issues, where I think, among other things, the government needs to be strong in terms of enforcing the law by not allowing people to construct in risky places. But also I think it's also an area that we would want to say, we would want to call upon all our wishers that have been there supporting the affected populations, that it's also high time that we look at how can we help the populations that have been affected to build back better. So we need to look at, for example, construction of multi-hazard resilient houses as part of what Malawi Red Cross is focusing on going forward. But also we are noticing needs in terms of WASH. Like I mentioned, we need not to forget the fact that cholera is still there, is still amongst us. COVID-19 is still amongst us. Therefore, we still need to look at, pumping in more resources around issues of WASH. And we'll talk about hygiene. We'll talk about community health and nutrition. We cannot neglect this. We have pregnant mothers, lactating women, children that are in the camps. Their nutritional status need to be also looked into and not be forgotten.
This is an area named Ndirande Chikuse Camp in the area of Group Village Headman Malemia, Traditional Authority Lundu, Chikwawa District. It is a temporary home to 5,132 individuals, representing 1,588 households. The Malawi Red Cross Society is still on the ground, working with the affected communities still on camp.
Tikufunitsisa kwambiri tachitirwida chinthu choyambirira ndi zokudya, chachiwiri zofunda, tikakamba zofunda tikamba za mablanketi kazovala.
This is Pondamira, the camp chairperson, who shares his vision that once he gets back to where he was, some of his immediate needs will be food and clothes, but especially farm inputs to enable him and his family get back on the ground, and very importantly, a place to stay. Pondamira says. At sunset, after the talks, the people are dispersed, each one fending for their family. Mary Nagoya is a mother of 4, with another one on the way. For her, getting back home would mean a lot, as she plans to raise the baby coming and her other children in a very safe, stable, and most importantly, clean environment.
Bomaenda kaliganizirako malo okhala kumene tikumakhala poyamba kudatha kuonongeka kwambiri olo pamene panali nyumba yathu silingapadziwe iya
Mary would have loved if government gave her another place to stay, she tells me, for her and her family to get back on her feet. That will give her a head start. What is another most crucial part is to lay foundations on how the country can build back better. And that's one of the topmost strategies of the Malawi Red Cross Society.
We launched an appeal to the international community where we would still want to continue supporting the populations with at least structured response interventions, but also we are looking at early recovery interventions. And as we speak, yes, the people have been supported with some items, relief interventions, but then they need to be helped to get back to their original state, to recover, or at least to get better.
The impact of Cyclone Freddy from the other side of the southern region in the area of Group Village Hetman Malinima, in Traditional Authority Njema in Mulanje, as one side alone, is just but a fraction of the sad state that districts like Palombe and Mulanje itself suffered. TC Freddy made Nanchidwa River change its course, separating villages and communities and families, making what used to be a passable road a hassle. Motor vehicles can only end this far. From then, only motorbikes. And if the ground is wet, then one has to breast themselves a 10-kilometer walk until Matola village, another area that faced the trauma of the disaster. Those plying their trade will have to make their luggage cross for safety at a fee, and even when it comes to bay, it goes to bicycles. All these are expenditures that were not there before to get to a base that not so long ago were people's homes.
Anthu anathawa koma katundu wawo ndi nyumba zonse zili pansi pomba.
This is Links on Focus from Namwela village, who narrates how people from this area managed to run away, but emphasizes that underneath the poles that are visible now are homes that got evacuated and buried underground. McDonald Tukuta joins in to exclaim the ordeal that has left the area destitute. There is indeed so much work to start from. What remains a critical need now is shelter, as the situation is very desolate and helpless. Much as Tropical Cyclone Freddy is gone, but the question remains, where do we begin from? Where will the people live? How will they pick their pieces together? How will they maintain to have a roof on top of their heads as everything they had is gone? The people need to be housed. The people need to put their lives back in order. And that is the situation that the Malawi Red Cross Society wants to put much emphasis on to make a change. The Malawi Red Cross Society is a non-profit making organization with a purpose to provide relief and aid to people affected by conflict and disasters. And it will continually strive to uphold its integrity in building back the nation better.